Hi, you guys have heard me talk about the peanut butter cookie that saved my life. Well, if you've watched my failure video, I've talked a lot about how I started low carb, high fat in the middle of June 2013. And a week or two into it, I was doing really, really well, wasn't hungry, had great energy. But around the end of the second week, start of the third week, I wanted a cookie and I was craving a chocolate chip cookie. And I came this close to leaving work and going to the store to buy a cookie. But I didn't. I came home, went through Pinterest, and found a recipe. I had all the ingredients on hand, so this is no strange flours, and I decided to make that cookie. And I remember pulling that cookie out of the oven. I remember exactly where I was standing in my kitchen, and I ate that cookie, and I thought, if I can eat food like this and still lose weight, I can do this for the rest of my life. And I had 2 of those cookies, and the next day, my scales were down. And I was thrilled. And that was really kind of the point of no going back for me, the point of no return. So this cookie recipe is ubiquitous. And I don't even know to whom to give credit because it's all over the web and it's super, super simple. And you probably don't need a video for this, but I wanted to share it because it really was the cookie that kept me on board. So let's get started. I'm doubling the recipe because I'm expecting at least a half dozen kids to invade for cocoa, low carb cocoa, and cookies. So I'm doubling the recipe. You can half this recipe. I'm starting with a jar of peanut butter. Now I have the entire jar in here and this is 16 ounces. 1 cup of peanut butter is roughly 8.8 ounces, so this is just under 2 cups. You want to have roughly a cup of peanut butter. And when you're measuring by weight and volume, it's different. I'm just going to say that the whole 16 ounces is 2 cups. It's close enough for what we're doing. And you want to add 1 cup of sweetener per 1 cup of peanut butter. So I've got 2 cups. I'm using my Sukrin brown sugar. This is not what I used originally, and if you don't have Sukrin brown, you don't have to use it. Use whatever sweetener you prefer, but this brown sugar gives it a really nice taste. So I'm putting in 2 cups of Sukrin brown. I'm going to cream the peanut butter and the sweetener together, and it's going to be very dry. Let me mention a little word about peanut butter. This brand is available at Walmart, Crazy Richard's, and it's one of my favorites because it's just peanuts and salt. Well, some of it has salt. You want to look at the ingredient list and just see peanuts or peanuts and salt. This one doesn't have salt in it, so I always add salt to the recipe. Okay, this is creamed up pretty well. And remember, you want peanut butter with just peanuts. To this, I'm going to add, again, I'm doubling it. So this is a full tablespoon of baking powder, not soda, baking powder. I always say it wrong. And I'm adding a ½ teaspoon of salt. Okay, that just intensifies the flavor. And I'm adding a full tablespoon of vanilla extract. Oops. Okay. And I'm going to add 2 eggs. Okay, there are my 2 eggs. Let's mix it together. And that's it. Again, these are all ingredients you may have on hand. Everybody seems to have eggs and vanilla. The vanilla is optional, so you don't have to add that, and you don't have to add the salt to be that way. I'm going to add something I did not have when I made this cookie the first time, and it is totally optional. You don't have to have it. This is the Sukrin Fiber Syrup Gold. What I love about it is it gives a nice, almost chewy texture to baked goods. I'm not measuring, but I'm going to put roughly 1/4 cup. How do I know that? It's because I use this all the time, and I hate putting it in a measuring cup and wasting it as I scrape it out. I really am quite fond of this stuff. It's great on pancakes and anything. So let me mix this in, and then we'll make our cookies. Like I said, it's really super thick. I always forget to put a towel under my mixing bowl. All right, really, really thick, as you can see. I'm going to try and get that out of the mixer. You can also, at this point, I always taste the cookie dough, even though it has raw eggs. I always taste the cookie dough to make sure it's sweet enough. I don't have any doubts about that, but I'll taste it just to be sure. It's super, super, super thick. Now, you could take a cookie scoop to get it out. What I tend to use is just my hands. I don't think we should change a thing. Okay, I may have to give the kids a different cookie when they come in from sledding. So what I'll do is, I've got a piece of parchment paper. If you don't have parchment, you don't have to worry about it. I really love the way parchment helps things bake up, and so that's why I like using it. Now, some people get really fancy and they take their fork and they do crisscross. You can do that. It's really pretty. I don't have a ton of patience for that, so I don't. I just shape it into cookies. And to try and get the portions similar, I do a ball first. So I do a ball of the cookies and then I flatten them out. And you can probably see the oil on my hand. It's going to be fairly oily. They won't change a lot of shape from this. Don't flatten them too much and don't overhandle them, but you'll just make cookies. I've got the oven preheated to 350, and I'll put them in. I'll start checking them at about 7 minutes because of the way my oven is, and you don't want to burn them. So I'll just shape these out. I know you're having fun watching me shape them out. I'll just shape them out, put them on my cookie tray, pop them in the oven, and then we'll take a look and see what we have with our peanut butter cookies. Our cookies baked for about 9 to 11 minutes, so keep an eye on them. When you're using the Sukrin brown sugar and the fiber gold syrup, they're a little darker, so it's harder to tell. What you don't want is too much burnt around the edges. Now, what I did when they came out of the oven, they were soft and chewy. Don't ask me how I knew that, but they've been cooling. I put them on a baking rack to cool, and everybody's been out sledding. So finally David came in and he's gonna try the cookie for me. But I wanna show you that as they sit, they get chewier and...
Crunchier or chewier?
Crunchier, I'm sorry. See, that kind of snap? Yeah. I'll
That's
give you the
impressive.
bigger half.
Thank you.
I know that you aren't a fan of baked goods, so, but you've had these before, so what do you think?
They've got a nice crunch to them. I love them. They're good. I need a cup of coffee.
Do you really like them? Because you are not a fan of the low-carb baked stuff, but these you like.
No, they're good.
The recipe?
They're good peanut butter cookies.
I know you like peanut butter.
Dunking them in coffee would be really good, though.
I'll make you some coffee, honey. The kids are out sledding. This recipe, remember I doubled it, made 40 cookies. They were fairly uniform. Mine were a little more uniform than his. He helped me roll the dough out. But the double batch I made 40 cookies. And you can freeze them. You can make half a batch to just make 20 cookies. I did not calculate the carbs. A lot of it depends on how you count your sugar alcohols. What made the carbs are pretty much from the peanut butter. So anyway, I hope that if you make these low-carb peanut butter cookies for you or your family, that you all enjoy them.